we're going to talk about cryptocurrency, blockchain, and then the last development, which is Web.3. What is all of this? First of all, what is a currency? So basically a currency is a very simple object. It's an array of wallets that map onto a positive integer. So for example, we have Harry, he has 10 worth of value. We have Alexandros, our president, he has 0 worth of value. And then we have Ioli. No, it's just the truth, mama. And we have Ioli, who has 20 worth of value. Now this is a very simple data object. You could make that in Python, you could make that in any coding language. So what is so different about crypto? This is the problem that Satoshi was faced with in his paper that was released in 2008 at the bottom of the financial crisis. And the problem is this. Let's say I want to have a database that is reaching a consensus between many nodes. So we have 20 different computers across the planet, and all of them need to decide how much does Harry have, how much does Alexandro have, and there needs to be consensus on that. One very simple way to think about it is to say, look, if one guy is saying that Harry has 20, but everybody else is saying that Harry has 10, then I'm going to trust everybody else, I'm going to trust the majority, and I'm going to give Harry the value of 10 in the blockchain. But he wanted it to be anonymous, and this is the anonymity problem. If I have a computer, I can go inside my computer and I can create virtual machines. I don't know if any of you have played around with virtual machines. But I could potentially make 50 virtual machines, thus get 50 votes, overpower the votes of the network this way, and then say that Harry has 2 million, therefore hacking and destroying the database. So how did Satoshi solve this? He said, well, in order to get your votes, you will have to solve some meaningless hashing equations, which is basically a bit like trying to brute force a password. It just takes endless computing power, and the more of those hashes you solve, the more votes you gain onto what the database is going to be. So suddenly you go from needing 51% of the identities to needing 51% of the computing power. For all proof of work networks, this is true to this day. If you had a computer strong enough to run 51% of the Bitcoin network, you could say that any wallet has any amount of money you want. The problem is that in order to buy that computing power, you would have to spend an astronomically big amount of money that no one in the planet currently has. And therefore, it was the first network that could not be hacked. But then a problem arose from this. 99.9% of your computer's computing power is going to solving these meaningless hashes so it can get votes and say what the transactions are and what is the consensus of this network. And also, to make things worse, in order for less Bitcoin to be given to the miners, because you get rewarded for solving these hashes in Bitcoin, the hashes get harder at every iteration of the block. So as time progresses, Bitcoin is becoming harder and harder to mine. The problem with this is that we ended up in a situation where the Bitcoin network is spending more electricity than a country like Greece, which for just a database that stores numbers is kind of crazy. The reason for this is exactly what I said. It's not doing the transactions, that is super easy. It's not storing the values, that is super easy. It's this meaningless hashes that we have to solve over and over and over again to authenticate the network. So there a transition started. We went from proof of work, which you can see here in this little animation, to proof of stake. What is proof of stake? We said, look, we already have coins and they're already distributed. So why not give the people as much votes as coins as they hold? This way they don't have to solve hashes. All the computing power of their computer can be used for transactions and for meaningful stuff, and we can authenticate that they do not own the entire network, because in order to buy, for example, 51% of Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency, you will need, again, an astronomical amount of money. And this is the transition to proof of stake, where you lock your coins, which is what we call staking, and you solve the transactions of the network, and you get rewarded in more coins. Now, another nice thing with proof of stake is because your coins are locked in this vault over here while we mine, if you try to falsify the network, if I go in the networks and I say, hey guys, Harry has a quadrillion tokens, the rest of the network will not validate me. They will say that's a lie. And then I will be punished. Some of the coins in my vault will be taken away and redistribute it to the other miners. So with proof of stake, you also have an incentive to not cheat. Whereas in proof of work, if you just cheat and cheat, you just get denied, but there is no punishment for you.
Do we have proof of stake now? Is that what we have?
Some coins, so basically Bitcoin is still proof of work, and Ethereum is trying to transition from proof of work to proof of stake. But most of the smart chains that programmers are currently coding on, and the new things are being made, are proof of stake, because we understand just the amount of electricity that proof of work takes is obnoxious. Yeah?
So, if supposedly you are able to gather a relatively large army of, let's say, zombies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to use some, let's say, public computers in your benefit. Do you know approximately how much of those computers are needed in order to falsify the proof of stake that you're referring to? Or is it
to falsify proof of stake, you don't need computing power. This is proof of work. To falsify proof of stake, you need the tokens. So I would need to have under my ownership 51% of the stake tokens. Then I can do whatever I want. On proof of work, I need 51% of the processing power. And a lot of smaller coins, meme coins that were made in the beginning that had like 10 or 20 computers running on them, a lot of miners that used to mine Ethereum or Bitcoin that had huge facilities, they will do what we call a 51% attack, where they start mining for this smaller coin, and they change the database to just say, I have all the coins, and then they sell everything and clear out the accounts. So it has happened as an event, but when we look at a network like Ethereum or Bitcoin, it's so massive that there isn't enough money in the world for you to buy that kind of computing power at this point. So then the next development were smart chains. I don't know if you've heard about Ethereum, or Matic, or Binance, or Cardano. But what was this transition? In the beginning, we talked about a currency. It's the wallets and how much they own. So a hash and a positive integer. At some point, Vitalik comes along, this Russian kid, and he says, wait a second, this blockchain object that reaches a consensus, why use it just for a currency? We could store all kinds of data on it. We could store strings, arrays, images, anything, just like a programming language. And he makes a new blockchain that has a native programming language called Solidity, in which you can code. Now, what's the major difference? Solidity is not very different to JavaScript, if you look at it in terms of syntax. But what makes it very different as a language is the solid part. Basically, you write your code, and once you have it written, you launch it onto the blockchain. There you need to pay, because your code will be forever written on this network. So you pay your gas fee at the native token. If you're in Ethereum, it's Ethereum. If you're in BNB, it's BNB. You pay your gas fee, and now your code is up there in the blockchain. Now, every person that wants to go and execute that code has to pay additionally because he's using some of the computing power of that network. And the code you have launched is no longer your ownership. It cannot be edited, it cannot be changed. It's immutable, it's solid, and therefore unhackable. Although there are a lot of hacks when it comes to crypto, a lot of projects are getting hacked. What we mean is not a literal hack in the sense that the code is broken, but just that the developers hadn't think of something in their code. The code will always execute itself correctly. It's just that in your program, you might have coded in a loophole that someone else can exploit. So this smart chains, I don't know if you have any question on them. The first big development that happened in smart chains is the ERC20 protocol. So as soon as smart chains began, all people started making their own token objects. They would take a wallet address, they would map that wallet address to a positive integer, and then, as we said in the beginning, effectively you've made a currency. But everybody was making it his own way, with his own stuff, naming conventions. So some people come along and they make the ERC20 protocol, which is a template of code for every token to be created by. As soon as this template is out, we get the tokenization boom, where all kinds of different crypto projects are coming to the surface, different coins, because you no longer have to make your own blockchain and have mining computers and facilities. Now you can just use Ethereum's processing power to make your own token for a 50 euro fee. So there we get the ICO boom. One of the first important developments in the ERC20 standard was stablecoins. So, as you have seen, I imagine, cryptocurrency is a very, very volatile place. Prices go up, prices go down. A 15% drop is to be expected, whereas in the stock market, if there was a 15% drop, you would see people jumping out of buildings. In crypto, this is a regular day, and what scares us is a 50 or 60% drop, a complete emptying out of the industry. So they thought we need to give people a way to store their value.
Sorry, can I?
Yeah, to ask me.
So why do we see these drops often? 15% drop. What causes them, for example?
First of all, in the stock market, you have inherent value of the company. So the company has assets, it has a banking ledger, so you can do some form of fundamental analysis on it. You can say, okay, this is the stock price, this is how many stocks there are, let's see what the company is made of. It has 3 planes, it has a building, so you can calculate its value and compare that to the stock value. If the stock value falls below that value, people know that it's on discount, so they start buying it up, bring it back to a stable point. In crypto, there isn't such a thing. It's all market dynamics. It's all people buying and selling. And the scariest part of all is that around 90% of crypto is usually inactive. Like the trading volume we see is usually 1, 2, 3% of the active supply. So if a whale right now comes out and he has 10% of crypto, there are such wallets, even for currencies like Bitcoin, and he sells just 0.5% of the crypto market, he's gonna crash it. He's gonna completely bring it down. Whereas in the stock market, things are more decentralized and much more strictly regulated. So you're not gonna get such movements. No one is gonna come out and sell 20% of Apple in a single day. So the first stable coin, to get back to this, ever made was Tether, USDT. They said, here's a fun idea. You give me $1 and I'll print an ERC20 token and I'll give it back to you. And whenever you want, you can bring me back my USDT token and I'll give you back your $1. This process is called pegging, and what it does is it creates a one-to-one relationship within the dollar and that ERC20 token. Now, in crypto there is no regulation. Tether went offshore, created the whole company offshore, and they started realizing, I can print more Tether. Nobody's stopping me. I have a money printer now, and I can make as much money as I want. So they start excessively printing, and they start using their printed Tether to buy crypto, which has caused a lot of controversy about Tether, if it's going to collapse, if it's not going to collapse. But governments are doing the same. During the COVID crisis, the governments printed close to 65% of their circulating supply. So this fractional reserve banking, where your collateral is much less than what you say, is classic in the nature of how humans do economics. Yeah?
But usually when you print more money, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
the value of that currency drops. How they keep their value stable?
See, the value of that currency drops, you say. Let's say you wake up today and you see that USDT compared to Bitcoin went up 20%. 99% of people are going to assume that Bitcoin went up 20%, not that Tether fell 20%. Because Tether, in their mind, has a one-to-one relationship with the dollar. You see? And this is the problem. And the same happens when you have excessive printing. The government is printing money, houses, prices rise. You say, oh my God, my house got more expensive. No, your money is losing value underneath. But humans don't think like that. So after all of this controversy, 2 more players came out, USDC and BUSD. USDC, I would say, is the most trustworthy one because they have a digital bank account where you can authenticate that every single USDC in circulation is backed by that bank account, and they have regular audits every month. BUSD was made by Binance, which is the biggest exchange in the world. We are not 100% certain on the one-to-one relationship, but as long as Binance is standing, BUSD will be standing. The only reason for it to collapse is for Binance to fall down. Yeah.
Regarding BUSD, aren't they backed up by an actual bank in Lithuania as well?
They have all kind of backing. And Tether, like, they did have an audit. Like the first one, they canceled it. Then 3 years after, they fought with the audit company. And then 5 years after, they have an audit, and they come out and they say, look, we have 10% in cash, 30% in crypto, and 60% in Chinese bonds. So in a way, they're backed. If you ask me, why would a stable coin have 30% crypto in its backing? For me, that just betrays that Tether is printing USDT and buying Bitcoin and Ethereum with it, effectively pumping up the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum and causing these waves of crypto hysteria where people are throwing their money and trying to go to the moon until they decide that we're going to pull the rug from underneath them. So as we see with USDT, USDC, BUSD, problems are arising. Why? Because we're moving back to a centralized approach. Because this is our nature and this is what we have been used to. So some people come along and they say, no, we need the stable coin pegged to the dollar that will not be owned by anybody. It won't be operated by any central authority. How you do that, you may ask. This is DAI, and it's from the Maker protocol. What's the Maker protocol? The Maker protocol is a smart contract where effectively, let's say I have 10,000 euros in Ethereum. I go to Maker, I give him my 10,000, and Maker puts it in a vault, in a contract, and it locks it up, and it gives me 5,000 DAI. So half of my value is given to me back as a loan. I do this for multiple reasons. Some people do it for tax evasion because they say, no, this is not crypto gains, this is a loan, and loans are not taxed like this. Other reasons is leverage, because I could have 10,000 euros in Ethereum, I could get a 5,000 euro loan, I could use that loan to buy Ethereum, I could put the Ethereum in the vault, I could get a 2.5 thousand euro loan, I could use that to buy Ethereum. Completing this loop gives me 2x leverage, so a multiplication of the Ethereum's variance. Now you may ask, okay, this sounds all good and nice, and DAI might be stable, but if Ethereum falls by 50%, then you will have been loaned out more money than your collateral. And this is a problem will make the currency collapse. This is why the Maker protocol, inside its algorithm, which this is in a blockchain, it's Solidity as we talked before, it's not owned or editable by anyone, says that if your collateral becomes equal to the value you have been loaned out, then all your coins, all your Ethereum coins will be instantly sold back for a stable coin. Effectively also, they'll be sold for DAI, effectively increasing DAI's price as they're creating buying demand. So this is what it has been balancing it out. It does have a little more volatility compared to USDC, but in my opinion it's the better alternative because really in this space what we're aiming for is decentralization and moving away from the central authorities that have controlled our money supply for so long. So now let's talk about wrap tokens. It's a very similar idea to what we talked before. As I spoke in the beginning, Bitcoin is in its own blockchain, which is a proof of work blockchain. It has no smart contract functionality, it's nothing, it's just wallet addresses, amounts in each wallet address. Yet Bitcoin is one of the most important values in crypto. And people thought, I want to be able to put this into smart contracts. And also, I don't want to have to pay 50 euros to do a Bitcoin transaction. I want to use a proof of stake network to transfer my Bitcoin around. And this is where wrap tokens begin. Basically, I go to a program, I give it 1 Bitcoin, and it gives me an ERC20 token, which is called wrapped Bitcoin, effectively pegging the price of that ERC20 token to Bitcoin. This way, all the coins from all the smart chains and different blockchains have been flowing into each other. So basically now, you can go in the Ethereum blockchain and trade Bitcoin, and then you can take your Ethereum and put it on Solana. Everything has become interconnected through this wrapping process that effectively creates bridges among the different chains. So then oracles. I don't know if you've heard about Chainlink. this was another problem that arose. They said, great, we have a programming language. Once you write the script, it's public, it's not editable, so it's not hackable. But a lot of scripts need data. A lot of times you want some real life data. Who won the sports championship, for example, if you're making a betting site? Or what is the price of Bitcoin today? Or what is the weather? Let's say you're making an insurance system for farmers. You would need to tell if they're lying about their crops being destroyed.
Maybe talking about using third-party services.
I'm talking about you need somehow to be able to bring that data into your smart chain contract.
Yeah, from other, yeah.
Yeah, now Solidity allows you to add an API. What's the problem? As soon as you add an API, you're moving back to a centralized structure. Because now your API provider can go at their centralized server, can change the feed that your smart contract is receiving, and effectively change what it will do. Stop that contract from reflecting reality.
And you could be the API, like,
Yeah.
developer yourself. And
You could be, but then you have full control of your contract, and you're not supposed to have that. You're supposed to write it, deploy it, it's not yours anymore. It's owned by the blockchain. So this is where Chainlink comes in. What Chainlink does is it collects as many API providers as it can, and it takes all their data in a single place, and then from there algorithmically distributes it to you. So if one API provider says, no, Bitcoin is not 36,000 today, it's 32, and everybody else is saying 36, it's again a consensus model to say, no, this 36. So now through Chainlink, which are called oracles, exactly for this purpose, for the first time we have decentralized data input that can be trusted into our contracts. In crypto, there's a big debate and divide between the centralized exchanges and the decentralized exchanges. As I said before, this industry is constantly trying to be centralized again. Authorities also trying to come in and put regulation on it, and then programmers out-programming the centralization and remaking decentralized structures. So maybe you've heard of Binance, Kraken, KuCoin, all of those are centralized exchanges. How do they work? What they do is, because if I were to give you Ethereum and you give me back Bitcoin, you would have to pay the Bitcoin transaction fee, and I would have to pay the Ethereum transaction fee, and that is going to be very costly. So what they do is they have a single Bitcoin wallet, and every single customer of Binance has his Bitcoin in that wallet. They have a single Ethereum wallet, and every single customer of Binance has all his Ethereum in that wallet. And then Binance, centrally, in an SQL database, stores Harris owns this portion of the Bitcoin wallet, this amount of Bitcoin. So then when we two do an exchange inside the centralized exchange, there is no real swap happening. It's in the SQL database that now you own the Ethereum and I own the Bitcoin, but nothing has changed in the blockchain. But this again gives them power, because they can come in and they can say, no, Harry has 0 now, and George has 1,000. So this is again the problem with centralization, and to make things worse, what happened with centralized exchanges is through a process they started to take away the anonymity in the blockchain. So the blockchain is open source. You can go in, you can see every wallet, every transaction, everything, every smart contract. So how is it anonymous, you may ask? It's anonymous because your wallet is not your name, it's a random hash that is generated when you create that wallet. So the idea was, as long as the wallets are random hash, nobody will be able to tie the wallet to your identity, and therefore you'll be anonymous, right? Wrong. Because after a point, centralized exchanges said, you need KYC, know your customer. So give me your passport, give me your tax identification number, give me an electricity bill so I can authenticate your address. And they start collecting our data. Now I go in, I buy Bitcoin, right? I get 1 Bitcoin. And then I click withdraw. And I say, take it off the exchange, put it in this hash wallet. The exchange has an algorithm that says this wallet belongs to Harry and I have his KYC. So I say, no, I'm going to move it from this wallet to this wallet. This wallet belongs to Harry. And effectively, from seeing where you were born, they can follow your money across the entire blockchain. The only solution that has been found in this is effectively a money laundering scheme for crypto, which is called Tornado Cash, which is a complex algorithm of transactions. You lose a lot of money doing those transactions, but basically a lot of people come in, like thousands of them, and everybody starts switching up tiny fractions of Bitcoin or any other currency with each other, making so many transactions that this gets lost up, and then you cannot tell anymore who is who and who exchanged what with what. But soon after, they'll find a way to even break that system. And this is where Monero comes into the picture. Monero is the only cryptocurrency at the moment. Governments are trying to sanction it. They're trying to make it illegal. We'll see if that goes through. But it's the only cryptocurrency at the moment that is truly anonymous.
So if I want to buy drugs from...
You would use Monero, otherwise you're going to go to jail. 100%. 100%. In the beginning of the dark web, people were using Bitcoin. I don't know if you guys know about Silk Road. Also, this has caused some issues in the crypto industry because a lot of the multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires of crypto are effectively old online drug dealers. Because when they used to use Silk Road, Bitcoin was like $10 per coin, and now it's at 36,000. So some guy was in there in that site selling weed or God knows what. He gets just 1,000 worth of Bitcoin in his wallet. He effectively forgets about it, wakes up some years down the line, and he's effectively a millionaire. So a lot of the big whales of crypto have come from that online drug selling background. But one thing I didn't talk about is, okay, we have these centralized exchanges, the government is working with them, they're trying to sanction us. What's the solution? What did the programmers come up with? And what they came up with is DEX, decentralized exchanges. So decentralized exchanges are effectively an algorithm that you can go and you can trade any type of token for any other type of token algorithmically. In a centralized exchange, you have what we call the book, and it's basically, I come in and I say, I want to buy Bitcoin for 36,000. And someone says, I want to sell Bitcoin for 37,000. If the exchange finds two people that are in agreement, then it connects them and the swap happens. And this is the bookie. And this is why they hold a fee for making that connection between you and the other person that want to do the trade. On a DEX, that doesn't exist. It's a little complicated, but not too much. As we said, it's code. So the code is that x times y is equal to k. What is this? This is a pool that you can trade. Let's say Bitcoin for Ethereum. All right. So this is the amount of Bitcoin in the pool, and this is the amount of Ethereum in the pool, and this is a constant. So this value is not supposed to change. So when you go to that contract and you say, look, I'm going to give you one Bitcoin, right? So you say, look, here's the Bitcoin, let's say, BTC, and here's the Ethereum, right? You're going to say, I'm going to go here and I'm going to give you plus one Bitcoin to whatever this X currently is. This algorithm is going to solve for Y to find how much minus does it need to do to keep this value constant. Effectively, this creates a graph where the more you buy, the price increases, the more you sell, the price decreases, if you look at it mathematically. And you'll ask me, where is this coming from? Why are there tokens in the contract? Why are there Bitcoin and Ethereum already existing in that contract? And these people are called liquidity providers. They go inside the DEX and they offer liquidity. So they say, look, I have 3 Bitcoin and I have 30 Ethereum. And they throw it in the contract in an equal portion. So if they give 10,000 euros worth of Bitcoin, they're going to give 10,000 euros worth of Ethereum. They give the two coins in equal proportions just so people can exchange. They become the liquidity. And here's the little lie I told you all, so I can make it a little more understandable. The K, every time a transaction happens, it's slightly increased. This effectively, over time, over like 6 months of you offering liquidity, you will end up with more Bitcoin and more Ethereum of value in that contract. And this is how the liquidity providers are making money. But the liquidity providers don't own the platform, they do not control the code, and neither do the traders. This is an automatic system that is sitting in the middle, doing everything on its own. I'm open to questions. Yes?
So essentially, if one, let's say me, that I don't actually know anything about crypto, what should I look into if I want to invest?
That's an interesting question. What you should look into? Alright, first of all, you should look into yourself and see what you want. I mean, do you want an investment that you're going to hold for 5 years? Are you looking to throw 50 euros on something because you want to have a lottery ticket that maybe has a higher percentage of you winning than an actual lottery ticket because those are against you? So if you want to play a lottery ticket, you're better off finding some kind of system that will give you at least the slightest mathematical edge. So one is this, like, how much risk do you want to take? Because trading is a risk-reward ratio that you're trying to balance out. Now, I would break things into like 3 categories. One is like blue chips, which is the very solid stuff. Like you buy Bitcoin, you're gonna be fine. You buy Ethereum, you're gonna be fine. Then it's the more middle stuff that come to like 50, 40 top coin. And then it's the moonshots, the crazy stuff, where you can get like a 20x or a 10x if you hit it. For the crazy stuff, I would recommend whenever you do it, just do it for fun. Like get a 50, forget about it, you're never going to get it back. The chance of you getting back is like 1 in 20 because you're going to get a 20x if it happens. So you should think that here's a 1 in 20. So throw it in there and don't care about it. As for blue chips, I think you should be dollar cost averaging into them as you go through life, because I think crypto is going to grow just like the stock market has grown. So I cannot promise you that 3 months from now Bitcoin is going to be up or down. I don't know. But I can promise you that 3 years from now Bitcoin is going to be up. So by dollar cost averaging, that means that, like you say, every end of the week I'll put 50 euros in Bitcoin. This is dollar cost averaging.
So basic investment, let's say.
Yeah, why does this help the every end of the month or every end of the week? It helps because if I want to put 10,000 euros in and I go to crypto, it's highly volatile, and I put it in today, maybe I'm at a peak and it goes boop and it falls 20% and I've lost 2,000 and I'm losing my hair. Alright? But if I say, okay, I want to put 10,000, but I'm going to be putting like 200 every week, then I'm effectively, if you have the graph over here, going something like this, right? Because you have multiple points in the graph, you will effectively buy at some kind of average price. So you're not in danger of putting all your money here, but you're also not going to be the lucky one that put all his money here. But you're creating for yourself an extra sense of security. Also, if you do dollar cost averaging, it's good to think, like, if this is your average, all right, and the week is coming up and you want to put 10,000 in and the price is here, so much below your average, you should be like, okay, let me put 2,000 today because this is going to drop my average buying price by a lot. If then you see that, we're at the moon right now, then you say, okay, maybe I should just put like 300 today because this is really going to increase my average buying price. So draw this line on the graph, which is the average price of all the coins you have bought. And what you try to do is you're trying to look for the right opportunities to bring that line down. Because the more down the line, the more potential for profit you have and the less risk you have. For me, that's the simplest strategy. And generally in trading, there's a lot of jargon going around. A lot of people trying to convince you that they have some kind of incredible strategy, they're going to make you rich. But in my experience, it's always the simple stuff that works, the stuff that is mathematically proven. and especially with like technical analysis, people looking at graphs and all of that, eventually you really lose your mind in a form of superstition, where your brain starts to find correlations between things that don't exist. So yeah, as for the middle coins, just find something you support, I would say, because it's a difficult spot because you might lose money and you're not going to see extreme gains like with a gem. So I would say at least choose something that you say, this is good for me. I think this has a future, and even if it doesn't, I'm happy to support it. So this would be like my general advice for entering the space. And also get yourself a wallet, a hardware wallet. Don't leave your money in the exchange. Any exchange one day will just disappear. This has happened in the stock market, and it's going to happen to crypto too. One day they're going to look at all the money, they're going to put it in their pockets, and they're going to start running.
Don't be negative, man.
It has happened already in many exchanges. Yes.
Okay, so let's say you have no idea how crypto works or anything, but I want to buy something from the dark web.
You want to buy something from the dark market?
Let's say.
Let's say you want me to give advice on buying illegal goods.
I
It
mean,
doesn't
yeah.
have to be.
Yeah, that's not really good. Like,
All right, let's say you go to the dark web to buy concert tickets,
yes.
because that is no, it is actually in a lot of countries illegal to sell your concert tickets before the concert, because you can effectively buy them when they come out, then sell them for a huge price right before the concert. So people have gone and they're selling them onto the dark web. So that's why I bring it up as an example.
What do you sell on that?
Me, I don't sell anything, bro.
That's what every dark web seller would say.
Okay, so the question was, I know nothing about any crypto. What's the best way for me to like acquire
Some
Monero?
crypto.
Yeah, some Monero.
So Monero, you go into an exchange,
Okay.
you pass through KYC, so you give your identity, everything. You're not going to get away from that. Because if you want to go from fiat, which is government-backed money, to crypto, the government gotta know. They're not going to let you easy. Only way you can interact with crypto without going through the government is if you already have accumulated some. The best way would be to offer a service to someone for crypto. Like you could come to me, offer me a service, I'll give you crypto, and then nobody knows about it. Send it to your wallet, and there's no tracking from any exchange. Or going to people that are working with crypto, giving them cash, and they send you the Monero on a Monero wallet. But if you don't have access to anything like that, what you would do is go to an exchange, buy up your Monero, withdraw your Monero into a wallet, and then if you want to be extra safe, do a transaction from that wallet to another wallet, and then have your Monero in there. Because the exchange can still remember the wallet you withdrew on. On the other hand, the Monero blockchain is fully encrypted, so they cannot see wallets, they cannot see how much they have inside. We don't even know the circulating supply of Monero, which is kind of spooky. Another thing to look at when investing is the holdings. You can go into a coin and you can see like top address, how much coins do they have? If you see someone that like the top address has 95% of the circulating supply, run, you know? There's no value there. This guy owns everything. Like you're not gonna get any. If you see something that the top wallet is like 30% and then below him is like a 10% and below that a 5%, and then from there you see a big array of different investing sizes, then you know that this has more of a distributed value and therefore a lot more potential and a stronger community around it.
So if I want to invest in a crypto anything, what would you recommend for me? If I don't want to lose money, but if I'm feeling a little bit risky.
No, look, this is the problem with investing. You say, I don't want to lose money, but I'm feeling risky. You gotta decide.
It's the middle ground. It's both. It's the golden mean. I want both.
There's no way.
You can't have everything. No, you can't have everything. You either take on risk or you don't. And already buying Bitcoin is a huge risk when that thing can go down 30%. So we're talking about a space dip risk all around. Yes.
I wanted to say for the graph, like, can we calculate how the graph will continue, like the Bitcoin will increase or decrease? Bitcoin is an example, by seeing the graph. Like,
You mean
saw
technical
somewhere
analysis?
You said that you can't put too much money if the graph is on high. But if you saw in summer, like the graph was going up and down.
No, I said if it's high compared to your buying
Yeah.
average.
Yeah.
So you have this line which is like, if I bought like, I buy 10 coins at €1, right? Then I bought another 10 at €2, and then I bought like 5 at €3. You can add all of this, then you can divide them, and you can get the average buying price of one coin for you. So it's compared to that line. You cannot tell if the graph is high or if it's low, except if it's like, you can see the Bitcoin cycles. You can see that it goes through certain times where there's a huge pump and then a huge 90% drop, and then people forget about it, and then it's going sideways for a while, and then some years after you get the second pump, 80% drop. But now we're in a weird spot. Now we've gone like up. We did a 50% drop down, which has never happened before. Usually when we went down, we would go down to the end of down. And then we went up again.
This 50% up, down have happened twice, I think.
Now it's the second
Yes.
50% down. But now we're experiencing a whole new behavior from the crypto market. This is not what it used to be. It used to be clearly a pump and dump kind of situation. Now we're seeing something a lot more like a stock, I would say, where the value is not just, it doesn't just disappear, but it's sustained at certain resistance levels. And I think it's a lot about these big companies coming in to the space.
Is it used to clear the money, like no?
To money launder?
Yeah.
Yeah, excessively. Yeah, it has been used, and as we said, the first use was Silk Road for cryptocurrency. Although the uses are really infinite, and there is a big use in third world countries and people that do not have access to a bank account. Like, I've been helping refugees on some crypto projects exactly because of this, because they cannot get a loan, they cannot go to a bank, they cannot start a bank account, they cannot invest. And crypto is like, I don't care. I don't even want to know your name. Come in. Here's your bank account. You can get loans from here. You can go here, you can trade. You can go here, you can invest. So it opens up this world that used to be for only like the top 5% of humans on planet Earth. It's opening it up to anybody that has a cell phone.
And I think that's the future of banking, pretty much.
I hope so. It sure looks better than a centralized road.
It's too risky to be the next generation of bank.
All right, we done? All right. Thank you very much for listening, guys.